55% of families who rely on food shelves are working families, particularly in light of rising food prices. What will you do to ensure that people, especially working families, can afford basic needs such as food?
That's a very interesting question. A livable wage is what you're speaking of, basically. It's a complex issue because of the fluctuating economic times that we are in today. This issue is a system or symptom of our local larger problem in District 7B. We have large segments of land not being efficiently used. We need new vibrant industries to move into our area. Government incentives like inexpensive land and less taxes for a period of time will help create a favorable environment. With this environment, because of the vibrance of the manufacturing, more citizens are employed, which increases revenue, and higher paid wages, which improves our total economy. Therefore, the solution to our wage problem is more industry, manufacturing, employment, so that we can create more economic wealth in our area and less people will be below the poverty level.
I think Dr. Maryland kind of hit it on the head. You know, a vibrant economy is obviously going to help people be able to afford the food that they need. But you know, I think again, different answers to the same old problem. We also need to look at what food people are consuming. Right now, there's very cheap food available, and it's not good for people. It doesn't fill people up, and you need more of it. And you know, it's basically very bad. So you know, maybe we need to look at having to pay a little bit more for food. You know, you are what you eat, and maybe we need to pay a little bit more. And I mean, but kind of these are separate issues. So I mean, basically, you're looking at you need a vibrant economy. If people are making money, they're going to be able to pay for food. You know, you can subsidize programs, and you can have programs like the Domiano Center, which are a wonderful program. I think. Wait, how many pounds of food did they go through last year? Let's look. They went through 128,000 pounds of food last year, and that is amazing. That is a great thing that they've done.
Now, I am one of the very privileged in this town. I make a good living, I love my job, and I'm feeling the pinch. And that causes me to think about people who are not so fortunate as myself. And I know that there are a lot of people working very, very hard for $7, $8, $9 an hour in this town. And I wonder, how in the heck are they making it? We have been engaged in this country, and for that matter in this state, doling out corporate welfare for years and years. The most recent example being with the Jobs E program in Duluth, where companies moved in. We actually didn't see many companies moved in. They moved around and took advantage of the system. But they got 12 years of tax freedom from just about every tax imaginable in return for $9 and $10 jobs. I'm not necessarily opposed to incenting businesses to move in, but if they do, and we do incent them, then we need to see that truly living wage jobs are created. Otherwise, we should not be engaging in this corporate welfare.
I think the food is, you know, when you're poor in this community, you have access to food. That's one thing. You have the Domiano, you have Salvation Army, you have the food shelves and stuff. I don't have a family, and I think it's a much more of a challenge, or I don't have kids, and much more challenging in that particular situation, because you can't come to some of these places when you got 3 or 4 kids and stuff. And you know, livable wages, I think, are a key part to that. Making jobs, creating jobs that are pay better. I worked in a field that didn't pay very well for a long time, and I now can make decent money some of the time, but not on a consistent basis. And I just think the livable wage is a good solution. And I like John's solution too, is healthier living. Education on just healthier living will help us to have that desire to move out of this poverty mode. Thanks.
Again, for me, this is something that comes down to honesty. 55% of the families means simply that this is a system that has failed. It's that simple. A system that has failed. If 55% of the families have working people and need to access additional services, we failed somewhere. And we need to look at that. Now, there is not a single person up here who will tell you that we don't want or need more jobs in Duluth. But the reality is, and the truth is, we can either fight for 300 jobs to pay $6.25 an hour, or we can fight for 100 jobs to support a family. Think about that. That's what we need to be looking at. If we have people coming up to Duluth, we need to remind those people, wherever they're coming from, maybe they're coming from the cities, maybe they're coming from Alexandria, whatever, companies that want to move to this community, we need to tell them before they even step foot in this community, unless you are willing to pay a livable wage, don't bother. You're only going to hurt those who are going to be working for you.
Thanks, Brendan. Let's talk about what can actually be done in 2009 in the legislature. First of all, a progressive income tax rate. We live in a state where the top 5% pay 10% income tax, and the bottom, the lowest earners amongst us, pay double, pay 20% income tax. How can anyone look at that and not think that that is wrong? When we have the people who have the least ability to earn paying the highest percentage of their income tax. Secondly, get rid of JobZ. JobZ has not done us good. We have not seen it do any benefit here in Duluth. And in most of the state, it's a race to the bottom in terms of income. At least in Duluth, when we brought it in, we raised the living wage standard. We set a couple rates where it was one rate if you had benefits and another if you didn't. But the bottom line is it has not done us any good, especially here in northeastern Minnesota. And all it has done is take away the income that local government needs to provide the things we want when we're doing well and the things we need as people when we're not doing very well.